stocks you should keep on your radar and tell you what the brokerages are saying as well. But first things first, let's get started by looking at the international handover and what a streak coming in for Dow, right?
Well, absolutely, Shanti. We spoke about this yesterday, day before yesterday, and now even today's 7th consecutive day of gains for Dow coming in. But let's also take a look at what happened in the overall markets then. And US stock futures were little changed last night after Dow, like we mentioned, it's posted its longest win streak going back to December. Wall Street is coming off a positive session for the major averages. The blue chip Dow has advanced 0.8%, registering a 7th straight day of gains in the benchmark's best showing since a 9-day winning streak in December. So we'll just have to wait and see if this 7-day streak can get converted for can continue for 2 more days and can beat that 9-day streak as well. The S&P 500 gained almost 0.5%, closing above 5,200 for the first time since early April. Meanwhile, on the other hand, you had Nasdaq that rose almost 0.3%. Investors have been more optimistic lately after the Fed Reserve indicated the next move is unlikely to be a hike, pointing to a cap on interest rates that could be bullish for equities. A strong earnings season as well as some softer labor data have also bolstered confidence in the stock outlook as well. Stocks are on pace for a winning week or at the end of yesterday's trading session. The Dow has gained 1.8% on a week-to-date basis. S&P 500 and Nasdaq are also higher by 1.7% and 1.2% respectively for the week. A slate of central bank officials are scheduled to speak today, including Fed Presidents Lori Logan of Dallas, Neil Kashkari of Minneapolis, as well as Austin Goolsbee of Chicago. All of these commentaries will be closely watched out for since we've had a series of Fed presidents give their comments over the last couple of days on where they see the rates going ahead. Now, Fed Governor Michelle Bowman will also be making an appearance, so we'll be keeping a close eye on what this person has to say as well. And on the economic front, May consumer sentiment data that's due out today after market hours in terms of US time is expected to ease slightly to 76, down from 77.2. So we'll just wait and watch how that pans out. But Shanti, also tell us what's happening with the world of oil, because equities are looking solid as of now, good handover coming in, but is it the same for oil?
Absolutely, and it's very interesting what we're seeing play out with oil prices, right? Because oil prices edged up to a 1-week high on data from China and the US, signaling demand in the world's 2 biggest crude consuming nations could climb. So now when you look at price levels, then Brent futures rose about 30 cents or 0.4% to settle around that $83 a barrel mark, and US WTI as well rose about 27 cents or 0.3%, settle around that $79 a barrel mark. And that was the highest close for both crude benchmarks since April 30th. Like I mentioned, that high coming in for oil prices, and limiting those price gains was US energy data showing gasoline and diesel demand last week was the weakest since the 2020 coronavirus pandemic as well. And in China, meanwhile, you did have crude oil imports that rose on the previous year in April, and exports and imports returned to growth last month. Now this of course indicates an increase in demand at home and overseas as Beijing moves to shore up a shaky economy as well. And that's about China then. But when you look at the US, of course, the number of new claims for unemployment benefits rose last week to the highest in more than 8 months. Further evidence, of course, that the labor market was cooling, and analysts also projected that ebbing labor market momentum puts 2 interest rate cuts from the US Federal Reserve this year back on the table as well. So that is something that the oil market will be looking out for. But when you take a look at gold as well, gold prices climbed over 1%. Spot gold rose over 1% to 2,335 per ounce. When you look at silver as well, there was an uptick of about 3% coming in for silver as well. So quite the interesting move for gold, silver as well as oil.
Well, absolutely. Oil and the metals, good moves coming over there as well. But with that, let's also take a look at all the important events you need to be watching out for in today's trading session. And well, from India today, you have the industrial production data coming out, as well as the country celebrating Akshaya Tritiya. So we wish all our viewers a very happy Akshaya Tritiya today. But moving on in terms of global cues, then from the US, you have the University of Michigan consumer sentiment. And from the UK, very important numbers coming in. Like India, you also have industrial production data coming from the UK. But apart from that, you have the UK GDP data also coming out today, so keep a close eye on that cue as well. shifting focus back home, let's talk about some earnings then. And we have 3 earnings today. We have a lot of earnings today, in fact, in terms of the broader markets today. But when you take a look at the Nifty earnings today, 3 earnings are coming on that front. You have Cipla, Tata Motors, as well as Eicher Motors. That will be in focus today. But shifting focus then to some corporate action, then the TIL rights issue will be closing today. So today is the last day to subscribe for that if you wish to do so. And today is also the last day to buy the shares of Aptech, DCB Bank, RK Forgings to be eligible for their interim dividend, and HDFC Bank, Bank of Maharashtra, Transformers and Rectifiers, as well as UCO Bank for their final dividend for the year. In terms of primary markets then, it's the last day to apply for the TBO Tech as well as Aadhar Housing Finance IPOs. Both those IPOs will be closing for subscription at the end of the day today at 5 p.m. So that's one important cue to watch out for. And lock-in period is also going to end for DCX Systems. 20% equity coming out of lock-in on that front as well. Now, when you focus out of the markets and take a look at what else is happening, the Supreme Court is expected to pass an order on Arvind Kejriwal's interim bail today. On the flip side, PM Modi is going to be holding a roadshow in Bhubaneswar. The ECB will be publishing account of its April policy meeting that happened a few days ago. And we also have important commentary, like we mentioned earlier, coming from different Fed presidents. So while we'll be watching out for all of these cues in today's trading session.
Absolutely, lots of commentary to keep an eye on, but let's kick.
If you like this video, then like, share and subscribe to ET Now.